His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May His favor be upon you and 1,000 generations, and your family and your children and their children and their children. May His presence go before you and behind you and beside you, all around you and within you. He is with you, He is with you, in the morning, in the evening, in your coming and your going, in your weeping and rejoicing. He is for you, He is for you. Amen. 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 Amen.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Announcements and our pastor's welcome.
It's so good to be able to come to the Lord's house, and as we come to worship today and sing and look to Him, it's so important. The words we're looking at and the words we're studying and singing about are not just words of mankind, but they're words that God inspired mankind, and we're coming to hear from God. And I just pray that we have that sense of reverence and that sense of encouragement as we hear so many other things in the world. We come to worship God and come to hear from Him, and I hope that's each of our hearts. And if you're guests, we just welcome you as in our presence too.
Yeah, I hope everybody got most of their combining done. Anyways, like Dick said, if you're a visitor, we're sure gladly welcome you here today and hope you have a good time worshiping with us today. For announcements, during worship today in the nursery, it'll be Mary. Wednesday at 7 p.m., there'll be Bible study, prayer meeting, and youth. Kids clubs will begin October 13th, so that's 2 weeks from now. There's a business meeting October 6th, and please fill out your survey about Sunday nights by next week and put it in the box at the back table over here. There are more surveys on the back table, so you should have a look at them and give your opinion on them, I guess. Send your October announcements to April by Thursdays each week. And the rest is all these other guys. Ushers for October are Tim and Corey. And any other announcements that need to be made? I guess not going to do any more singing? Okay. If you're glad you're here, you shake the person's hand next to you and thank them for coming. And then we'll continue with whatever we're doing.
Church mother in a church hat clap. Man, that sure gave her color purple coming back clap. When that whole week beat you up and stress you, but you hear that organ playing and remind you of your blessings. And on another note, she just hit another note. Chills down my spine, got me crying, make me overload. You don't know about it though. Old school church hymns, deacons get the humming, now the drum up in the verse. Lordy, Lordy, Lord. Can you hear me now? Church close, sweater, you don't care, you just get it now. Testify how we made martyrs out of these fathers and rose up all of his daughters to glorify him with honor. Man, I swear Thomas Jones with her head did. Now it's flying everywhere, she don't care what her head did. She an egg, yeah, caught up in the egg, yeah. Probably why she clapping like Jesus just reappeared. Give me that God Almighty, that good old gospel, that old school doctrine. Give me that truth for the body, ain't nothing new about it, but it's still one power. Church clap, let me hear the church clap. 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 I wanna be the type of dude to get the Lord on his feet. I wanna do the type of shows that the Lord wanna see. What I mean, if I can make the whole church clap, it ain't a clap in the heavens, then that clap just a clap, clap. For the Son glorified, sin mortified. The Holy Spirit going word that truth ain't watered down. It's sound doctrine, gets birthed in the common now. Nothing wrong with singing loud, but that ain't where the power's found. The church has been clapping at weak sermons, leaving the weak hurt. No one's changed by Sunday service. We need discernment, check what you be affirming, cause the church can be full of members but empty in conversion. Preach the gospel and stand back, look for changed lives, not for hand claps. Love people well, oh they can't stand at the church, just the church with the words where we stand at. Give me that God Almighty, that good old gospel, that old school doctrine. Give me that truth for the body, ain't nothing new about it, but it's still one power. Church clap, let me hear the church clap. 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 Come on.
In my wrestling and in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk the sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore.
test? Okay. We had 3 Yukon/Suburban or 7 to 8 seaters right full on the way there. I miscalculated and thought we had 1 extra seat, but realized I had missed one of the twins in that count, and we actually had every seat filled, so that was pretty amazing. I was really excited when Joanna Andrew said that she had been asked to come along or to do a workshop on basketball, and so that was totally God outlining because we needed a 3rd driver, so that was really good to have her come along as well. So on top of the crew here, we also had Rajitra and Rashant, Nolan and Levi, Danny, Mario, Breton. Am I missing anyone else? So yeah, we had quite an awesome crew. Had a really good time. It was just right in the area where we could be together, and it was just really phenomenal how that all worked out. And it was different. I felt a little bit like we were in a reality TV show by renting a house with all these kids. There were some moments that I'm sure there was a camera crew watching when the neighbors were threatening to call the cops and all sorts of things. So that probably was one of the interesting memories, and I had mentioned that. The kids were throwing a little football around the backyard, and a neighbor hollered over the fence and was threatening to call the cops. And so we didn't know this neighborhood had a 10 p.m. curfew for quiet time, and that was closer to 11. And so we just, as youth, tried to reason through. It might have been closer to 12, Grady says. So we tried to reason through like why this lady would be so upset, but we just could imagine living by a rental home, especially a rental home that houses up to 12 people. There's probably a lot of rowdiness that carries on. So she was trying to stop that from happening. So I had mentioned that we were told that she was going to call the cops in one of our leaders' meetings, and there was a girl, Christelle. A few of us went to camp with her when we were young, and Jordan, Andrew, and myself. Maybe April remembers her too. Anyways, her brother was in that leaders, and he said, maybe you guys should offer some sort of gift to your neighbor, and as a we're sorry. And so I asked the kids, and they were excited to pick out chocolates and flowers at a store. So we pulled up after we got those things, and this neighbor was actually coming out of her house, and so we got to deliver this we're sorry and we love our neighbor sort of offering. So that was really a neat moment that just hopefully brought some healing. So we didn't stay mad at her and she's like, well, now I feel like a real awful person because you guys are being so kind. But it was just a really nice way to try to show forgiveness for us and even through her. So that was really good. So I'll let the youth share now. Do you want to start? No. Okay, we'll go this way. What do I say? You can say how many years you've been to SYC and the highlight.
I've been to SYC twice, and the first time was better. And I think my highlights were the food. It was pretty good. And at the rental house, staying up for a bit past our actual bedtimes.
So he would say it's better because they really liked having it at the venue where Trinice is right now. It just is a little more laid out, a little more room. So I think that his first year was better, maybe because of that. They're looking forward to next year, back there.
My name is Grady, and my favorite part was basketball.
This was my first year at SYC, and my favorite part was self-defense.
This was my first year at SYC, and some highlights were 3 hours of sleep on the second night. It was like I woke up to people tickling my feet. And I liked the games, the night games, the rec games, and the food was really good too.
My name is Ethan, and this was my second year, and I probably like staying at the house and rec and night games.
My name's Zoe, and this was my second year. My favorite thing was probably photography there.
This was my first year, and my favorite part were probably the games.
This was my first year, and my favorite part was probably singing all the Aladdin songs to Andrew on the way here.
This was my first year, and my favorite things were the rec games and the night games.
I'm Joanna. This is the third time that I've been able to go, and it was kind of more of a last-minute thing, but I'm kind of glad that it was a shorter week, even though I'm sure these guys wanted to spend a lot longer there, but it made it easier for me having the little ones with me, and I was thankful to be able to go. It was about, I think, 7 years ago, the last time that I was there, so I did have a lot of fun with these guys. I got to do the basketball workshop, which I enjoyed very much. We got to go to a local high school that was close to the church and play out there, so it was a lot of fun.
I wasn't sure if this should be my closing comments or if we're going to have another chance. Brenda and Kevin Peacock's son Nathan did self-defense. So that was, whoever said that, Kyle said that. So that was, I don't know if any of you know Nathan, but he did self-defense. He can kick a couple feet over his head. It's pretty impressive. Rob Schmidtke was the speaker. His wife, Sarah, probably many of you know, she worked with Global Response or something like that with if there's a hurricane or something like that. And they go there and help build stuff. We got to meet the pastor of Bow Valley. He's new there. He played the guitar, bass in the band. And then Tim did sound there. He helped us a lot with sound here at our church. And of course, Richmond Hill crew. Mike, what's his name? Mike did rec. He's been here with his crew. And so lots of familiar faces. Nathan Bedoya, of course. The camp was at Jasper Place where Uncle Kay ministered for a while. And then they used the city kind of a community playground area there for rec. And so it was an interesting question for everyone that had been to SYC and had some expectations, like, well, how are we going to do rec and how are we going to do workshops? And so, but they did really good. And then of course the camp, do you remember how many kids there was? It was like maybe 50 kids or 70 kids or something. It was a big enough crew, but it was split in half because they did 2 days versus a whole week. So they did 2 days in Edmonton and then moved the camp down to Calgary and did 2 more days. I don't know. I quit counting how many times I've been SYC. A highlight for me, probably, actually, I guess I've gotten old enough now. I look at the people that serve at camp a little bit different. I asked, like, don't you have anything better to do than be here and work at SYC? But I value that commitment it takes for people to be part of their life and to go there and serve in whatever way they have to offer. And also just many of the kids that I was at SYC with, I can see that they go on to be adults and have kids and do stuff themselves. And so it's fun to just watch these kids because I can't help but see Maya when she's 22 and has some kids of her own. And it's just kind of an enjoyable thought. Maybe not for Jordan and Ange, but for me it is. Sorry, I shouldn't have closed with that. Now I'm done. We'll do My Lighthouse with the band, so come on back.
Wrestling and in my doubts, in my failures, you won't walk out. Your great love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Whoa, you are the peace in my troubled sea. trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore. I won't fear what tomorrow brings. With each morning I'll rise and sing. My God's love will lead me through. You are the peace in my troubled sea. Oh, you are the peace in my troubled sea. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storms. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storms. Fire before us, you're the brightest. You will lead us through the storms. My lighthouse, shining in the darkness, I will follow you. Oh, my lighthouse, I will trust the promise. You will carry me safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore. Safe to shore.
Thank you, youth. It was fun to see all the activities that you did there. If you'd like to join us for this last song and stand up with us as we lift our voices to the Lord.
There's a grace when this heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. When I look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There was another in the fire, standing next to me. There was another in the waters, holding back the seas. Should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free, there is a cross that bears a burden where another died for me. There is another in the fire. All my dead left are dead beneath the waters. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. Should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning, either way I bow to the things of this world. I know I will never be alone. There's another darkness bows to him. I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between Worsley. I can feel the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls cave in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us and the light in the darkness. As the darkness bows to him, I can hear the roar in the heavens. As the space between where sin, I can feel the ground shake beneath us. As the prison walls cave in, nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between. Another in the fire, standing next to me. There's another in the waters, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me, I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I'll count the joy come every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be.
You can be seated.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And what a great testimony of the kids. Sure appreciate that. And sometimes it's hard to love our neighbor, but when somebody loves you, that makes your day. And I hope this morning somebody's made you feel loved today. And God calls us all to reach out, and I think the greatest thing we can do is make someone feel loved. And I just appreciate the youth reaching out, and we just want to pray for them as they continue to reflect on their time at Summer Youth Celebration, and appreciate all the leaders taking them. And if there's something else that's in your heart, we're going to give you opportunity this morning to just voice a prayer concern or something you'd like to praise God for this morning that He's done special in your life, or just something that's happened that was something we'd like to hear. The harvest. Farmers in the harvest. It's good. So this is a lady in the dealing with the fire permits in our, okay. Mhm. Thank you. Gotta go. Okay.